Summertime is a season when many people engage in a variety of recreational activities, among them visiting an amusement park. Despite its widespread fame today, this particular attraction has a relatively short history, with Bakken, north of Copenhagen in Denmark, opening the first and oldest amusement park of its kind in 1583. In the United States, Lake Compounce in Bristol, Connecticut opened its doors in 1846, well before places such as roller coaster capital of the world, Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, and Steeplechase Park, which was the first of the three major parks that competed against one another on New York's famous Coney Island. For people of color who continued to build their lives here, many too felt a desire to attend such places. Sadly, this was during an era when segregation was heavily prevalent. As a result, they started building their own spaces of enjoyment. An example of this is Joyland Park, the first black amusement park in Chicago, Illinois. Bronzeville was a section of the Windy City, located just west of the 31st Street Harbor. Even in its heyday, the neighborhood was surprisingly small, with its current borders encompassing Interstate 90 or the Dan Ryan Expressway on the west, South Parkway Boulevard, later renamed Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, on the east, 31st Street on the north, and Pershing Road, 39th Street on the south. It occupies just over a square mile, a thriving hub for business, culture, and politics. Bronzeville earned its nickname, the Black Metropolis, because Black Americans flocked there during the Great Migration. The Chicago Black Renaissance arts movement had taken root here by the middle of the 20th century. This community was home to a number of African American artists and intellectuals, including dancer Katherine Dunham, sociologist Horace Clayton, journalist and social activist Ida B. Wells, musician Louis Armstrong, writer Richard Wright, and poet Gwendolyn Brooks, among others. It is still possible to find a number of historic buildings in the area, including the Overton Hygienic Company, the nation's largest producer of African American cosmetics, the Wabash Avenue YMCA, the Chicago Defender Building, one of the nation's most influential African American publications, as well as the 8th Regiment Armory, the first black military armory built in the United States. Accordingly, Bronzeville hosted a number of cultural and entertainment venues. A variety of adult-oriented entertainment options were available, including jazz clubs, cabarets, speakeasies, and vaudeville houses. However, some community leaders felt that a more family-friendly option was needed in the ever-expanding commercialization of the entertainment here. Augustus Williams was an attorney from Chicago's South Side who represented several cases relating to the 1919 race riots. It was Williams who spearheaded the effort to build an amusement park for Bronzeville residents. He called for, quote, many of the best colored men and women in this city to open an amusement park for blacks, a pressing need since all of the Chicago amusement parks were racially segregated. Backers consisting of prominent members of the community were quickly established, including Virgil Williams, Robert Abbott, and controversial editor of the publication The Broad Axe, Julius Taylor. Joyland was founded in 1923 by the collective WCSNS Amusement Company. A merry-go-round, a Venetian swing, a whip, and a Ferris wheel would be among the attractions that the park would feature on approximately 2 acres of land. The Joyland Jazzers and dance halls were also advertised here with the slogan, "Come one, come all." Although the owners of the city cabarets would fight against these new family-friendly parks, it was regarded as a better alternative to those venues. Politicians and vaudeville owners lobbied against Joyland. In fact, when Joyland's backers initially applied to the city council for a license to operate an amusement park, 2nd Ward Alderman Lewis B. Anderson, with support from Republican Ward Committeeman Edward H. Wright, introduced a council order to close the facility. Joyland remained open despite opposition from local entertainment venues and their political representatives at City Hall. Unfortunately, the park could not keep its doors open past 2 seasons, closing to the public in 1925 for good. The area where the park was once located is now a parking lot for the Illinois Institute of Technology. A wide range of Black-owned and operated vacation attractions, resorts, and pleasure gardens can be found throughout American history. However, aside from places like Joyland, very few other attempts have been made to build Black-owned amusement parks at such a scale. This may be attributed in large part to the onset of integration after desegregation. Today, even though we haven't reached the mountaintop Dr. King envisioned, as shown in recent events, many people of color have enjoyed the fun an amusement park can bring. Getting even higher on that mountain would require another Joyland to be created by the best colored men and women in the country, and we certainly have plenty of them